So Children First is working on a variety of projects that will focus on a lot of different age groups, but specifically the Y4CC has decided to focus on middle school and high school aged people in St. Louis Park.
The Y4CC is made up of high schoolers just like me from Benilde, as well as many from St. Louis Park High School.
They looked at data on post-secondary enrollment, post-secondary completion, and they even looked at data on how many of their peers are planning to go to college, how many are ready for college academically.
The data walk you did this morning is the same data walks we did as a group, looking at certain data and analyzing it and wondering how can we solve these problems and why it's happening.
It was kind of overwhelming at first, but then as it kept going, we got closer to the idea which we wanted.
After reviewing data for several indicators that were predictors of economic mobility for youth, they felt that the mental health data they reviewed on anxiety and depression, and especially suicide ideation, was the most pressing problem to focus on.
So we decided to go with suicidal ideation, partly because it's something that we feel like we see our peers or just anyone around us struggling with, and just because the data really points to suicidal ideation being one of the most pressing issues.
The process we did was our group looked at different data during our data walks, and we would look at these issues like depression, anxiety, suicide, and then we would look at different races, different ethnicities, or different groups of people, and we'd look at those percentages, like how many Black students deal with this, or how many white students or gay or straight students deal with this. And then we also found the top two groups of people that dealt with it the most.
A certain target demographic, which currently for us is the non-straight, the LGBTQI community.
Data is really just information that can be used to help us understand how and why a program or initiative is working or isn't working. And I'm a qualitative researcher, so I think a lot about lived experience. Our lived experiences tell us a lot about what's working and what isn't. When we collect data in a systematic way, it helps us understand and sometimes validate lived experiences. And then it also helps us kind of compile evidence to show either successes or needs, and then can help us gain support from community funders or other people that are invested in the well-being of children and families in St. Louis Park.
What's great about what Children First is trying here is that they're putting the decision-making directly in the hands of youth, and that the youth are learning how to use the same process that systems leaders across the country have used to address equitable results in their own communities.
I never really knew how much depression or mental health is actually affecting my peers. I just kind of thought it was just a little small part, but now with that data, we've really seen how much it has gotten over the years.
Especially looking at the data, it goes to show that nobody is truly alone in this, and it's a community problem.
When we're shifting from the summer work of trying to set up this program, I always seen myself as, oh yeah, I'll probably be able to participate some of the time. I'll show up when I can and be helpful where I can be. But once I started being in the meetings, it's been harder and harder to not continue to show up, because it's harder to turn down this opportunity to come in and have these really rich, robust conversations with youth around important big issues. They happen to be a lot of conversations that I also professionally and personally feel are really important, but they've been really meaningful, rigorous, and deep conversations.
Our schools, as one kind of institution, have been created to serve students, sometimes very homogenous groups of students for a long period of time. And the more diverse we get, the more adaptable we need to be. And so as a community, St. Louis Park, you've been learning this, right? Figuring out what are the best ways that we serve an increasingly diversifying community. And I think that as adults who have these very defined roles, we talk a lot about collaboration, and we talk a lot about working together, and we do it. But young people always teach us something about ways that we could do it differently and ways that would be more in touch with the experiences that young people are having today.
Honestly, in my opinion, I see some of this data in my peers. For example, it was like depression and anxiety was higher for kids that were like non-straight. And I have a lot of non-straight friends, and they tell me their experiences about being called names and how they just feel anxiety coming out to their parents or anxiety going to school because they don't want to get made fun of.
The work that we do, it's going to have impact, not just in St. Louis Park, but because of the ripples that it's going to create, it's going to impact everybody in the metro. It's going to be just great for the next generation who are going to lead us.
I hope that my work and the Youth for Change Coalition will make it easier for students to feel open and to talk about such serious topics. Hopefully then lower the amount of students that do feel suicide ideation.
It's super important that we have all of your support as well. Any work that you do, any conversation that you have with your kid or any kid that you know is exactly what we need you to do.
Youth are the experts in their own experiences. And so I think having the youth be at the center of the table and be the ones to make the decisions ensures that community change is made by and for the youth, which is so powerful. I really think that every single one of us can make an impact and make a difference, and it takes all of us to do that. So we appreciate all of your support.
So at the Youth for Change Coalition, we need your support from the community because SLP youth need to see that adults in their life care about them and want to help improve their mental health. Let's all try to get involved in the work that Children First is doing.